Bienvenue à Café du Monde. Today we are broadcasting from New Orleans. It is New Orleans because the original Orleans is en France. Comment allez-vous aujourd'hui? How are you today?
Avec vous ce soir, avec moi.
Today is the
Avec vous ce
second.
soir, avec quoi?
Sounds like you're drowning. Are you drowning? Are you drowning?
Can you hear me okay? Is my voice okay? Is sound okay? Can you?
Yeah, it sounds like you're in a submarine. But that's great. That's great because we are recording from New Orleans, and Jeanne d'Arc, Joan of Arc, is the Maid of Orleans, and she is the patron saint of France. So when I think about donuts, I think about beignets, and I think about my father making donuts, and I think about Dunkin' Donuts, and I think about iced coffee, and I really was wondering what we would talk about, but then I spent 7 minutes thinking, and it's a complete world. So I guess you're there.
Don't stop.
Don't stop. Just keep talking. Okay. So donuts are all over the place. They are ubiquitous. They're everywhere. Many different countries have their own version of donuts. And when I was young, I think we lived in New York or Virginia or someplace where it was snowing. I remember my mother had strawberries that she grew, and she would make strawberry shortcake, and sometimes she would have strawberries and cream. And somehow my father had this fryer, kind of a square thing that's like a toaster, and he would fill it up with oil, boiling oil, and he would make donuts, and then he would serve them on this platter and kind of sprinkle a little bit of powdered sugar. And I have to admit that, you know, although we like to blame a lot of our problems on our tragic childhood, I had a pretty good childhood because I got to have donuts as a child.
Can I ask you a question? Because I need to know. You keep saying donuts, and I'm thinking, how would I write it? Would that be like DONUTCHES, or would that be like a long French word, like with a G and H and N in the middle, like donuts?
Okay. Well, right now, donuts are generally spelled DONUTS, donuts, because Dunkin' Donuts made donuts popular all over America, and they even branded their own coffee. But DOUGH, dough is the soft material that you use, the bread and yeast and whatever. I mean, the what you use to make the substance of the donut. And then you have to roll it out and cut it with a donut cutter, and you have the holes. The donut holes are a very important part of the donut. Remember about negative space and how what's not there is sometimes more important than what's there. So back to your question about how to spell it, I would say most people would just spell it DONUTS. But in New Orleans, there is a cafe right on the Mississippi River, the banks of the Mississippi, and it's called Café du Monde. And they sell beignet mix. They sell French roast coffee. It's an iconic place to visit when you're in New Orleans. And the coffee is made with coffee beans and chicory. Now, back in 1862, when they founded Cafe Du Monde, they only served the donuts, which are like square shaped, like little pillows that are about the size of your fist. They served white or chocolate milk, and they served fresh squeezed orange juice. Now, the little square pillow donuts don't have a hole in them, and they're called beignets, and have powdered sugar on them. And then I was reading a little bit about iced coffee. Iced coffee was introduced at Cafe Du Monde in 1988. But the original Cafe Du Monde was owned by a guy whose last name was Fernandez. So the history of New Orleans is about how it was originally belonged to the Choctaw Indians. Then the French, the Spaniards, and the British came because, they wanted more land. Like it wasn't enough. They had land in Spain, not enough. You got land in France. It's not enough. You got land in, Great Britain. You've got to go mess with the whole world as a, colonial empire. But let me not get distracted. The last thing I wanted to say was that, it's not the last thing, but in 1718, Jean-Baptiste came to New Orleans and called that area Vieux Carré, which means the old quarter. So whenever people visit New Orleans, they usually go to Jackson Square, which is right there with the St. Louis Cathedral. And there's a lot of little artists there and singers and people doing mime. Not meme, but mime. So, I've been to New Orleans. Had you ever been to New Orleans or any place where they had donuts?
I was, yes, but when I was in Boston, I even tried Dunkin' Donuts, and I remember a shop and two police officers stood in front of me, and that was a very interesting experience because I was told that
the sound is breaking. The sound is breaking up quite a bit, so you might want to change locations, like turn to a different wall or get out of the elevator.
Is it better now?
Oh, that's perfect. So let me ask you that's perfect. Let me ask you that same question. Where have you been that you have eaten donuts? Yeah.
Dunkin'.
Where was Dunkin' Donuts?
Yeah, hold on. I'm kind of on the go, but I don't know what's with the connection here. So
that's perfect.
My question, really?
That's perfect. Yeah.
Should I stay here?
Stop. Just stay there. Keep talking.
Yeah, all I know about donuts at the Dunkin', and when I was in Boston, I had an experience of eating a couple of them. And I don't know, do you have any kind of Texas version of Dunkin' Donuts at where you're at?
Okay, well, Dunkin' Donuts is a brand name, so it's corporate, and it's owned by the company Baskin Robbins, which is an ice cream company, and it's also owned by corporate. So this is all about corporate greed. So when you say, did Texas have Dunkin' Donuts? Yeah, but Texans also have their own thing. There's donut places all over the place. There's little Vietnamese donut places and Korean donut places and Polish donut places. So most of the donut places around the hill country, around Austin and Waco, most of those are Czech, Polish immigrants, Germans. Now in San Antonio, which is my hometown, they have something called sopapilla. Sopapilla. And the sopapilla is you usually have that after your meal. It comes fresh out of the, fryer, kind of a little square shape, small square shapes. And they come with a little serving of honey that you can put on them or some powdered sugar. So it is another version of this fried dough. So the Mexican version of it would be called sopapilla.
Portland.
Okay, the only thing you said was forefront. So what else did you want to say other than forefront?
Yeah. Okay. Hold on. I'll take off that Bluetooth because it's not working. Hold it.
Yeah, yeah. Whatever you've got on you, take those things off. Take all the wires off.
Can you hear
Yeah,
me?
everything's great. Now I know that you're there for psychotherapy. You're getting electric shock, and they have electrodes attached to you. But you're doing a really great job. We're very proud of you.
Yeah. First of all, while I was in Boston, I ate a couple of donuts. Yeah, and in front of me in the queue, I had two police officers who I kind of befriended at the time because I always wanted to be a policeman. Well, that was a long time ago, and but now no, I don't eat donuts anymore because I told you I eat only things which has no labels in it, like apples and potatoes and also bananas. So donut-wise, I'm a complete idiot. But still, when I saw a picture this morning that you sent me, I was like immediately excited, and maybe today I like break my what's that called when you don't eat anything? My diet.
Fast.
My wholesome diet, and I'll buy me a box of donuts and send the picture.
I think that Dunkin' Donuts, the originator of that, was very clever in terms of marketing, because instead of just selling one or two, because that's really about all a person can eat if they're having a cup of coffee, or maybe if they're with their wife or with their son, or they could maybe each eat two. They were smart to package the box as a dozen. So when you go in to get, no one would ever just go get one donut. Like you always go in and you get a box of donuts, and there's all these choices. There's some that have they're filled with cream, and some covered with chocolate, and some are classic cake with just a little bit of cinnamon on it, and others have sprinkles. So I know that when I was raising my children, in middle school, I think it was middle school, maybe the first year of high school, one of my daughters was on swim team. And if you're on swim team, you're not supposed to have like donuts, cake, Coca-Cola, Fritos, chips. You're not supposed to have this junk food. You're supposed to keep your body in good shape because your body is a machine and you can't put junk in it. And you've got to swim meet, you've got to swim against all the other teams. So my daughter had some friends that were on swim team with her. And I remember picking them up, and I used to like to do forbidden things. That's one of my themes. I go, hey, let's go to Dunkin' Donuts. So I think 3 or 4 little girls were spending the night at our place. So we jump in the car, and it's about 11 o'clock at night. And, so we're out when everyone else is supposed to be sleeping. Not too far away, like 8 or 9 blocks, was a Dunkin' Donuts filled with forbidden fruit. So they run in, and they haven't had any sweets for a while. And their coach is like, will never find out that they've eaten, all these donuts. So I just remember, I said, well, why don't we just go ahead and get 3 boxes, which would be 3 dozen would be what? 3 times 12. So these 4 little girls went back to our place with, however many donuts that is. I'm not sure what that's related to, but I just know that the things that are forbidden to us are very attractive. Like you say, you're trying to be eating healthy, and you're in therapy, and now you're going to find joy in going to find some donuts.
Yeah. Also, I just people around me. They want to know what the hell I'm doing here and talking in the middle of a road. And I guess there is this guy who wants to eat donuts while riding a bicycle. I'm not sure. So I'm kind of in a situation here. I apologize because go on.
So you're in the middle of the road. Well, I would like for our subscribers not to follow our examples. Do not do not stop in the middle of the road to listen to Petroma therapy. But sometimes
Have you tried to eat a donut while at the wheel?
Oh yeah, well, I eat everything while at the wheel. So I have some friends. They are es verboten. You cannot eat in their car. You cannot eat a hamburger. You cannot eat chips. The only thing you can do in David Anton's truck that's permitted is drink beer. But my car is like my little world. I love to eat in my car. I feel like the ancient Egyptians, when they were buried, the pharaohs, they would put into their sarcophagus all the stuff they'd need. They would put into their tombs, their wives, their kids, their furniture, their cat. When I go, I want my Toyota Corolla to be buried with me. My Toyota Corolla is kind of my significant other because I've had so many good times with the Corolla, and I love to eat in my car. Do you allow yourself to eat in your own car?
I think we are very much alike. We would be like full brother if you were a man. But yeah, I got my car's full of all kinds of food. Any time of the year. I even have a portable fridge. Yeah, I have a portable fridge with. I guess it's power. I guess it takes power from that smoky smoker something. Well, it used to be. Well, I don't smoke anymore. But anyway, so this portable fridge. Yeah, the charger. Right. So if I'd highly recommend you to have the same, you'd be able to keep much more food than you do now.
Well, at first I thought you said you have a portable fish, FISH, in your car. But I'm glad you don't have a fish in your car.
I wish I could have a portable fish, but no, it's a fridge. Well, first of all, because I told you before, I'm in kind of situation here. I'm feeling like a reporter from a war zone, but go on.
Well, I think we're moving towards the realization that what you would love to have along with you on your ride is a mermaid, because it's just one step from the portable fish to the mermaid. So, yeah, I don't know. I also have in my car coasters. I have straws. I have forks and knives. I also have little salt and pepper things. Once I was going someplace with my friend David Anton and his father, Papa Dave, and his uncle, Uncle Mike. And I think David was driving. I think I was in the back seat. And they had beer, and I had a couple bags of chips. And I remember Uncle Mike said, Patricia, you're the person I want to be with when the world ends, because we could survive on all the stuff you have in your car. So I found that to be quite a nice compliment. Just to I have napkins. I am a civilized eater.
Yeah. Well, you're like me in Norway. Let me tell you this. Well, mermaid, I thought that sounds a little bit sleazy, and like whores are us. There are shopping chain called Toys R Us, and
I thought you said whores are us. WHORES. Whores are us.
I did say horror us. I just somehow subconsciously I thought of that shopping chain that would sell mermaids, and that would be comfortable.
Toys R Us. Yeah. They have Jeffrey the giraffe. Well, I know that also.
But they don't have Jennifer the mermaid.
Oh, they do. They have a lot of blow-up toys that you can put in your swimming pool, like the classic, ring, that you get on the inside. But they also have floats that you can lay on. I've actually seen like giant crocodile shaped floats that you can lay on. I'm thinking that you should get a mermaid float, that you can lay on, and a box of donuts. Because some people say that in therapy, if you satiate or satisfy your desires, you'll get better. But the longer you fight them, the more powerful they become.
Yeah. No. I think I should focus on a spiritual side of life because I'm. I wanna be a better person than I was yesterday. Do you think that would be possible? That makes any sense?
I think pretty much anything that you do today will be better than yesterday, because you get into a lot of trouble with your chainsaw and your expensive cognacs and cutting down forests and building a bunker. I mean,
I understand. That's life. That's life. But I also like donuts and go on.
Well, like I said, I didn't really think about what we could talk about, but as we're talking, there's just so much to talk about. Do you like just a plain donut that has a hole in the center, or do you like a cream-filled one, or do you like the ones that have frosting and stuff on the top? What are some of your favorite types of donuts?
That is absolutely irrelevant because I only eat them with butters, and you can put butters on any kind of donuts. And
butter?
The dream
butter?
one. Butter, yeah. Yes, exactly. And did you know
B-U-T-T-E-R?
had butter, B-U, what's the word? How do you spell that? I'm not good in writing. Butter, B-U-T-T.
Okay, you can't put any butter on donuts because it's hot in Texas.
You can.
Butter goes,
you can.
Butter goes on popcorn.
No, you can eat it with donuts too. And I'll teach you how to later. Maybe we'll have a food show. We'll have a food show how to put butter on donuts.
That'll be great. I would really like that. That would be a lot of fun. That sounds really good. Well, we invite our subscribers to tell us about what donuts they like, and I wanted to say hello to Michael in Albuquerque and Austin and Amos here in Dallas. And I met a very lovely woman. I believe her name was Shannon. She's involved in the art world, and I'm sometimes at art openings. I'm going to suggest that she serve some donuts along with drinks and wine and beer and coffee. We also have our youngest subscriber, Emmanuel Hale Martinez. He's probably about 4 weeks old. He is our youngest subscriber, and he's already getting mail. I sent him a welcome to the world card. He's also received his Social Security card in the mail. Can you believe you're only 4 weeks old and the government is after you? Well, that was a kind of a poignant pause.
No. I was pushing this button, but there was no reaction. Sorry, I said like a sentence or two, and then I thought that why would you be so silent? And I said, and then I noticed that I wasn't on.
Are you muting yourself? Muting yourself again?
I'm unmute. Yeah, exactly. I'm not sure why it sounds funny to you, but unmuting and muting is like a regular process. I just push that button not to add some noise into our conversation, but somehow I'm glad that you like it.
Yeah.
As for your question, I don't know. I wish I was like 4 months old sometimes. Okay, not 4 months old, 4 years old. No, I think the best age I would like to be of is like 20 years old. Yeah, I wish I was 20 years old. What age would you be? Would you want to be?
15.
Would you be like 15?
15? I love being 15 because I was traveling all over Europe. I was in Athens. I was in Rimini in Italy. I was in Frankfurt. My parents paid the bills. I looked great. Teenage boys were confusing to me. I was just starting to read philosophy and books about art, and I loved being alive. One of the best things about being 15 is I didn't have to pay any bills, and I didn't have to have a car because in Europe, there's all kinds of mass transit and subways and trains or my father was driving a giant station wagon that had tons of food in it. When I was 15, life was good. Kind of been downhill since then. But you like being 20. Well,
Yeah, I apologize. Again, that thing somehow yeah, I'd like to be 20 years old. And I'm not ashamed of it. Not ashamed of it.
well, just tell us about it a little bit. What's great about being 20?
Well, it's just there's not much to talk about to tell you about that. It's just 20 years old, and the whatever scratch you have, whatever itch you have, you scratch it, and you eat however many donuts you want, and it wouldn't affect your weight. You can have any diet at the age of 20, and
That's
you
true.
don't even notice.
That's true. That's true. And also, you can run and you can swim and you can jump and you can climb trees and you can conquer women. Yeah, when a man is 20, that's a good age. That's a good age. Now, I
Yeah,
remember when I was
but
20.
then again, you're stupid at age 20, and you're doing so many mistakes, making so many mistakes, which and sometimes it affects your future life and affect other
Yeah,
people.
yeah,
So
but
I'm not sure if I want to be 20 anymore. Man, no, I don't want to be 20 years old. I don't want to be 20 years old age.
that didn't last very long. I would like you to make a commitment and stick with it. No, I mean,
Yeah,
I just
but I
know that.
didn't. Yeah, I just recall that I've made many mistakes at age 20. No, that's I wouldn't want to do them again.
Well, you're not going to have to do them again because you're not 20. But I know that when I was 20, I was at the university and I was trying to figure out how to pay for my books and how to pay for my tuition and how to whether or not to get married. And I didn't really like being 20. 20 sucked. It was like I always did the wrong thing. Chose the
I
wrong
agree.
guy.
25. I don't want to be 20 years old too.
Yeah, let's skip from 20. Yeah. Yeah, let's just skip the next 20 years. 20,
Yeah.
20 years after that. Yeah. But hey, you know what?
By the way,
have
20 years after is Alexandre Dumas' book, one of my favorites, about Three Musketeers, but like the
oh,
sequel. Yeah, you didn't know that? It's a sequel.
and what's it called? 20 years after?
That's exactly what it's called. You should
Really?
maybe find it and read it. It's very interesting. Just as the Three
Huh.
Musketeers, that is interesting.
Well, that sounds really, really great. Well, I heard that the month of July has many celebrations, and one is the 4th of July, American Independence Day, and then the 14th of July is Bastille Day, and then I understand that you have a birthday in July. Are you planning on celebrating?
Well, yes and no. And I'm not that kind of a birthday party guy. I'm sort of a shut-in, as I told you before. And each birthday, I mean, the birthday is good when you're 5 years old and 6 years old, 7 years old. But now it's not. Well, I apologize if I
Well, yeah, I know.
somehow
No, you don't
drift
have
it off
to.
the door.
No, I mean, the thing is,
Well,
I know that birthdays become more pensive over time because I think, what have I accomplished in the past year? I mean, just think of during the pandemic, like a couple years went by, we each had a birthday, and it's like, gosh, our life sucks. Like, what did we even do for 2 years? Like, we got into arguments. We tried to figure out whether or not to touch or not touch our face. Our relationships with family and friends became very strained. Just the fact that we survived the pandemic without going crazy, is quite an accomplishment. And now that the pandemic is kind of sort of over, I feel like I've lost 2 years. So like I have to make up for it now by eating donuts, having bourbon and coffee, eating cookies.
I feel sad.
Okay, everything was great. We're having a great time, and now why are you sad?
Well, I'm not sure why. It's just somehow it just dawns on me out of nowhere for no particular reason. Did that ever happen to you?
Well, people have a go-to mode of being. So some people are just kind of naturally and habitually cheerful. They just make the best of it. The glass is half full. Let's just keep drinking life. And some people are kind of low-level depression, like they're smart and they accomplish things. They get married, have kids, work, but there's kind of always a low level of depression. So if you touch the person, like kind of if I poked you on the shoulder and said, "How do you feel?" You'd be like, "I feel sad." But other people are kind of up and down. I have found myself to be very happy, very cheerful, super excited, or very sad, kind of upset. It's hard for me to keep the middle ground. It's hard for me just to keep that middle ground of not too happy, not too sad. Just
Yeah, but that's what therapy are for. Because it helps you when you're feeling down and blue. You call your therapist and you feel better, even if you feel sad at the beginning. But then it all changed for the better, right?
Yes, and like I feel sad when our therapy session is over. But we have to live our lives. We just can't be live
But
streaming.
look at the bright side. It's not over yet.
It's not over. I mean, the world. Yeah, I know. We still have today to live. It's great, and we have.
No, I mean the therapy session. The therapy session is not over yet, so no reason to feel sad. Sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, these two words confuse me because if I said that, that's like I've said something you haven't heard. But then, fuck, these guys, they want me to go off the road.
No, I love it. I love it. It sounds like you're standing in the middle of the road making a recording, and that you're.
Can you hear that? Can you hear the honking and stuff?
Yeah, I hear traffic, and I hear.
Like there are many of them. I don't know. Where is the freedom of movement and stuff?
That's great. That's great. Well, yeah, I feel pretty good. I've got a celebration coming up. We're going to be getting together with some family and going on a picnic, and we're going to bring all different kinds of food, and we're going to have a tablecloth, and we're going to be in this community garden, and we're going to collect tomatoes and bell peppers and mint and oregano and sage, and there's a couple of hoses that you can use to water the garden. So we're going to sprinkle the water on our feet, and I don't know, we might have some wine, or well, I don't drink wine, but we might have some beer or some lemonade. Traditional for 4th of July is apple pie, listening to the Boston Pops Orchestra, and then watching some fireworks. And as far as I recall, you like things that explode and make noise, right?
Yeah, I do. I do like fireworks, but not particularly, not specifically, because I think they're dangerous. Don't you think they're dangerous, the fireworks?
Yeah, and in Texas, there's a tradition, especially, I'm not sure if it's exactly Hispanic families, but firing guns off into the night, like shotguns. So even though I live in a modern city, the metropolis of Dallas, Texas, We have a lake, we have hike and bike trails, we have beautiful trees, but also we have beautiful firework displays, symphonies, orchestras, a lot of beautiful civilized things. But we also have people shooting off shotguns in apartment complexes. So, when you wake up on the 5th of July and you walk around the parking lot, there can be like shotgun shells all over the parking lot. I am not kidding. And also it causes a lot of PTSD for people that have been soldiers. Loud banging, noises are very scary.
I love clay shooting. You know what clay shooting is? It's like you have a real gun, shotgun, but you don't shoot at the real birds. They have these clay plates, and you shoot as many as you can. That's what I like. But lately I've become afraid. No, I developed awareness how dangerous it is, and I stopped doing that. Would you